Let's see. Is there sound? Let's see. Is there sound? Yes. Good. Sound is being picked up. So clearly it's Yveltal time. I still cannot believe we got Shiny Xerneas full odds last time so quickly. I do indeed have the Shiny Charm for this game. So, you know, really time to compare the difference between having Shiny Charm and no Shiny Charm. You know, I was really afraid Xerneas might actually be the longest hunt yet. Because it very well had the potential to be. You know, unlike the Masuda method, where it's 1 in 512, Xerneas would have been full odds, 4096. I've had 4096 hunts take a very long time before. Ahem, Regidrago taking 36 days. I know Beneath the Mask got claimed before. I didn't mute myself. There we go. My cringe voice is now out. So yeah, I know Beneath the Mask got claimed before. Oh well. So I got two different things to talk about today. But first, actually, I want to wait until, you know, my From Recommending Friend shows up so he can hear me talk about these. And, you know, he gets off work at 10:30. I actually started late tonight. It's actually 10 p.m. when I started, instead of 9:30. I started late tonight because, frankly, I needed to charge my phone. I went out for dinner, and I needed to charge my phone when I got back. So that's why I started later tonight. It's okay. I have the Shiny Charm on this game. So it shouldn't take... I can't even say it shouldn't take that long, because it still could. And Xerneas just wasn't that long to begin with. I also did not count how many encounters it took for Xerneas. I will. Since it was so short, I will. I just haven't been in the mood to. So, two things for me to talk about today. Number one, like both of them, I want to wait for him to show up. Uh-oh, why is the rubber bands not working? Hold on, I need to redo the rubber bands. Or, yeah. Why is this not working? Let me put on the rubber band holding the L and R buttons. Okay, let's try that. Uh-oh, what happened? Alright, there we go. So yeah, two things I want to talk about today. Two shows that I have been meaning to watch for quite a long time. Yesterday, I finally, at long last, started watching The Boys. I know I am 5.5 years late watching this show. This show premiered 5.5 years ago, and I'm only now watching it. But hey, better late than never, right? At long last, after all the discussion has died down for this show, I am finally starting to watch this show. So yesterday I watched episode 1. I'm gonna wait until my friend shows up so I can talk about it. As well as I'm gonna wait for him to show up so that I can also talk about Oshinoko Season 2. I watched both yesterday. Or at least I started both of them yesterday. So I'm gonna wait for him to show up before I talk about both. Assuming Shiny Yveltal doesn't show up within the first, 30 minutes. But before that, while we wait for him to get off work and join, if he doesn't, and I don't talk about these shows, blame him. Yesterday, let's see. So yesterday I got my 4th, I think so. Yeah, I got my 4th overall shiny Furfrou. I got my number 4th. What? I got my 4th one yesterday. Today, I got number 5. And not only did I get 5, I also got 6. I got the 5th and 6th shiny Furfrou today. I got both. So now I have 6 out of 10 total shiny Furfrous. I only need 4 more. So just a recap up to this point. The first shiny Furfrou came at 599 eggs. The second came at 959. The third was 1,088. The 4th one yesterday was 1,358. And today, shiny Furfrou number 5, 1,557. And Furfrou number 6, 1,613. You know what's crazy? Up to 1,600 for Furfrou, I already have 6 shinies. At the point of 1,600, I only still had 1 shiny Panpour. So I really did just have some awful RNG luck when it came to me hunting here. Nah, I couldn't have gotten, 6 shinies within 1,600 eggs while actually being here. No, I could only get 2 in 1,800 eggs. Because of course it had to happen like that. So I collected hundreds of Furfrou eggs, and what I've been doing is I've actually been doing probably what I should have been doing this whole time, and that is just having something hold down the button, hold down the D-pad button, so that I could collect steps around Prism Tower, not have to actually do it manually. Oh yeah, I just use something to hold down the button, and then when it comes time to tap the screen to hatch the eggs, I do so. See, the reason I couldn't do that before is because I was pre-walking them before. I wasn't going to hatch them. I wasn't aiming to hatch them. So I actually needed to pay attention and count how many laps around the tower I did. So yeah, only 4 more shiny Furfrous to go. I kind of expected this hunt to take much longer, but I'm already 6 out of 10 in. I was really debating too, oh, do I really want to get 9 more of the same thing? And here I am. Technically 5 out of 9 extra ones gotten. It's yeah, I'm actually very close to the end. And also, before we talk about the shows, there is oh wait, I also forgot. Aside from 2 shiny Furfros today, I also got a shiny Eevee in Pokemon Go. Literally on my way home from dinner. So there are 2 more things I would like to briefly discuss. Excuse me, I need to pour myself some water real quick. So, 2 more things to discuss, both of them relating to Sony. So, yesterday, it was announced that the Sony Spider-Man villain spin-off universe is dead. they're ending it. So, Kraven the Hunter will be the last movie for that universe. That universe will only consist of Venom, Morbius, Kraven, and I haven't seen Madam Web yet. I heard it's standalone. I heard it doesn't even connect. So I don't know. And I guess Madam Web. So, what a failure of a universe, Sony. Congratulations. It's like, damn, poor Aaron Taylor Johnson. You know, his movie's not even out yet, and then all of a sudden it has all this pressure to, you know, end off the universe. So, yeah, RIP to the Sony villains universe. You know, when I heard the news, it was actually shared by me, or shared to me. When I heard the news, I'm just like... what I actually replied with was the Moist Critical Dance. Because... Is it a bit of a shame? Yeah, a teensy bit. It had potential. Had Sony made good movies, then it would have been a big shame. But because the universe consisted of primarily mediocre films... I'm just thinking, like, once I heard the news that the Sony universe is dead, I'm just thinking, oh no! Anyways. Yes, very sad. Anyway. So it's like, well. Well, too bad. Too bad for us, I guess. It's like, oh, no, please, Sony, please. It's going to be really hard to move on without this fantastic universe you've given us. We'll find a way. We'll just have to move on with our lives without this immaculate world building you have done. Sony, please, please. No need for tears. We have to be strong. And you know, the crazy thing is, Sony kills off their mediocre universe, and they're about to expand on another one. Because yesterday, we got the first official teaser trailer for 28 years later. I think it's only slightly off than 28 years. I don't think it's been 28 years yet since the first movie. I think it's only been like 24 years. Let me see. 28 days later. Yeah, it came out in 2002, so, oh no, that was 22 years ago. And then it's going to release next year, so it would have been 23 years after the initial film. Had they waited 5 more years, it would have actually been 28 years later. So, if you don't remember too much about 28 days... Wait, no, 28... Was it 28 days or weeks? Wait, was there a weeks? Oh yeah, there was a 28 weeks. Oh yeah, that's right, with Jeremy Renner. Came out in 2007. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't think I watched this one. I think I saw a recap of it. But yeah, if you don't remember 28 days later, like I don't really, since it came out 20 years ago. I highly recommend the Thrifty Typewriters video on it. Probably link that down below for you guys. So, I couldn't help but notice that it also stars Aaron Taylor Johnson. Did he do a Tom Holland? What he did with Uncharted and then No Way Home? Just back to back filmed Uncharted and then immediately went onto the set of No Way Home. Is that what Aaron Taylor Johnson did? Once he finished Craven, he just went onto the set for 28 years later? Because I couldn't help but notice he looks damn near the same. Long hair and everything. I'm just like, bro, he's just playing Craven again. He's literally just Craven the Hunter again. So yeah, I'm interested in 28 years later. If only they actually... It would have been so cool had they held off on the film for a couple more years. It actually came out 28 years later. I'm a little sad to see that Cillian Murphy's not starring in it. You know, Oscar award-winning Oppenheimer himself. I'm a little disappointed to see he didn't return for the 20 years later sequel. Like, literally 20 years later. Although, I couldn't help but notice, in the trailer, there is one zombie coming up, like rising up from the ground, and that zombie looks a lot like Cillian Murphy. So it's like, oh man, so you're telling me the character didn't make it? You know, I'm seeing right now on my, no, not mine, but the Discord shiny hunting server I'm in, someone just pinged, you know, hunting Yveltal in Dynamax Adventures. It's just like, wow, if I wasn't doing this right now, like, if I didn't have the means to hunt Yveltal like this currently, then I would have joined that. Whoops. Wrong console. Over here, I need to get on my bike and hatch more eggs. Well, not much happened today. I'm thinking about what else there was for me to talk about. Well, it was also revealed or announced that Chris Evans will indeed return for Secret Wars. I wonder who he's going to play. You know, there's about a bunch of rumors and ideas put out right now of who he could be playing. He could be playing Captain America again. But how? How can he be playing Steve Rogers again? I'm glad you asked. Obviously, they could go the route of a variant. You know, Steve Rogers is still young in the past, living his life with Peggy Carter. They could go for an evil variant. People are, you know, spreading that idea around. He could be playing Captain Hydra. There is possibly that. Or, and I like this idea. I don't know if they're actually going to go for it. I doubt it. I heard this idea that Doomblazer suggested. He could just be playing old man Cap again, but de-aged. How can they de-age him? Well, remember in Avengers Endgame, when they were testing out their time machine, Scott Lang, he turned into a baby and then he turned old. Remember what Tony said, instead of pushing Lang through time, you push time through Lang. So they were pushing time through Scott's body, making him age up or down. Technically, they still should have that tech available, so if they needed to de-age him, they absolutely could. And, wow, I never thought about that. They technically could de-age any character they wanted. Obviously, they would need to fine-tune the process, because they couldn't control it when, you know, Scott Lang was going through it. He became a baby and then became an elderly man. They can't control it. But yeah, I never thought about that. The Avengers actually do have the means to de-age someone. I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. They actually are able to do that. But then, obviously, you know, the final fight in Avengers Endgame, Thanos threw his sword into that ugly brown van, destroying the quantum tunnel. So it's destroyed, but that doesn't mean they can't build it again, right? Hank Pym is back in present day. Hank Pym not only can create more Pym particles, he can also create another quantum tunnel, especially with the help of Janet. So they absolutely can just build another one. And then there's also reports Anthony Mackie is not happy about the news because his chance to become Captain America hasn't even happened yet, and they're already announcing Chris Evans is back. There also are rumors that Chris Evans is in trouble financially, so it really, if that's true, makes you wonder, like, what happened to all the Marvel cash he made throughout the years. All that money working for Marvel, you know he got it. You know that boy is stacked. So if he really is having some financial troubles right now, which you can thank Biden for this economy, it really makes you wonder, like, what happened? I mean, hey, it's not impossible. Turns out that James McAvoy was damn near broke before doing X-Men First Class. And you know, I just want to briefly bring up the idea. So, for quite a while, I have wanted to see a superhero movie where the hero goes up against not the typical villain associated with that character. So imagine if Captain America, for a movie like Steve Rogers, the main villain was Green Goblin. Green Goblin is obviously a Spider-Man villain. I just want to see a film like that, you know? And it kind of seems like we're getting it with Captain America, Brave New World. Red Hulk is not a Sam Wilson villain. It's a Hulk villain. He's a Hulk villain, so, you know. But yeah, I've always wanted to see a movie where the hero fights a villain who is not typically associated with that hero. You know, when No Way Home came out, people were comparing what's stronger, the Super Soldier Serum or the Goblin Serum. The stuff that made made Norman Osborn into the Green Goblin. Who's stronger, Captain America or Green Goblin, just by sheer strength? Like I do want to see a movie like that. So imagine Spider-Man is, you know, a Spider-Man movie where the main villain is the main villain is, let's see. Oh, I'm trying to think. All the villains I first thought of could still be associated with Spider-Man. I thought of Taskmaster. He still could be a Spider-Man villain. I thought of Winter Soldier, still. Kinda. Okay, what about a Spider-Man movie where primarily he goes up against Red Skull? Like, that just doesn't really fit. Or what about a Thor? What about a Thor movie where he goes up against Doc Ock? Right? Like, the pairings that just should not work are hilariously not meant to work. What about, okay, aside from Marvel, what about Superman versus Bane? Well, Bane has no chance, but still, you know what I'm saying. What about, well, we already kind of got Batman versus Lex Luthor. But not really. I would imagine, like, Batman versus Lex in his Lexo suit. You know, completely equipped with all his gadgets. What about, let's see. What about Batman versus Cheetah? Cheetah's not a Batman villain. Well, he said he'll be here in about 15 minutes. I mean, it makes sense. It's 10:29 right now. He's just getting off of work. He also needs to go home, change, and whatnot. So, soon, my friends. Patience. We will talk about the boys and Oshinoko in due time. Momentarily. Patience. I say that as if anyone's watching this. Alright, let me put on some other music. Jesus, 27 minutes listening to this already? What can I put on? I see right here the 28 Years Later trailer has 9.9 million views already. Oh, you know what? It's been a while since we heard this one. God, that's loud. You know something else? So, something else I need to do is prepare all my other files to catch that shiny Rayquaza Terror Raid event happening in just over a week from now. That's something I still need to do, but I'm kind of busy hatching all these Furfrou eggs. Like, you know, I'm in the zone right now. I'm locked in for Furfrou, and I just don't want to stop. I just don't want to stop. I just want to keep on hatching eggs. I'm strangely more motivated to do this off camera than I am on camera. Then again, on camera, I actually have to hold down the button myself and, you know, talk. Off camera, I just put something on top of the button to hold it down so that my character moves to collect steps. And I don't have to say anything. So if anyone's wondering how I got Yveltal so fast compared to Xerneas, like how I got Yveltal so quickly right after Xerneas, who knows, maybe I just got that lucky and found it right away. No, actually I found it quite ahead, quite in advance. When I was hunting for Xerneas, I already had Yveltal, like I was already right here saved right in front of it. I already found it ahead of time. Thing is, like, in terms of my team, it's the exact same team I had for Xerneas. What I did was I just had a bunch of, like, filler stuff in my party, saved right in front of Yveltal, and then, when I got Xerneas, I traded my team. Because you can do that, you can trade Pokemon from your party right on the spot. So, I traded all of my team that I used for Xerneas right here for Yveltal. By the way, you know when that friend of mine shows up, I'm going to say everything I said again, just so he can actually hear it. Don't worry, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, yesterday I drove out to pick up my dog's wet canned food because he's old now. He can't digest his kibble as good anymore. So we're gonna give him wet food from now on. They're expensive too. $17 for 4 cans of dog food. It's like, what, just over $4 a can? It's expensive. Guys, allow me to, real quick, shuffle this to the side and show you what I have on my other screen. Shiny Furfro number 7. Remember, I still have my friend's 3DS that he let me borrow. So, 7 shiny Furfros now. I have 7 out of 10. I just need 3 more. I got 3 shiny Furfros today. Why couldn't these odds be present when I was here doing it in front of the camera? I mean, it was one time for Pansage, but that's it. So I now have 7 shiny Furfros, just 3 more. I can't believe this is taking so fast. I really thought shiny Furfro, like getting 10 of them would be like months of work. Given how long it took me to get those 9. So in the number of eggs it took me to get 2 shiny Panpours, I already have 7 shiny Furfros. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, yesterday I went to pick up my dog's canned food. And, well, I just couldn't help but feel sad doing so. Maybe it was because I was going, to the place that Billy passed. Because Billy died in that clinic. We let him go peacefully. At least I hope it was. I was standing just a mere few feet away from where he passed. So I don't know if it was because I was standing literally in the same building where he passed, or Maybe because, and get this, like, I worked at that clinic many years ago, back in high school. So, you know, maybe reminiscing on how much my life has gone downward ever since I worked there. Not realizing how good I had it back then, when I was there. Just thinking about, like, just all the things that changed in my life since then. And boy, does time fly. It's already been like, geez, how many years? 6, 7 years since I worked there? And, you know, how much better my life was back then. Nowadays, it's just like, what happened? Well, it just hit 10:43. We shall see if he shows up at 10:45. Of course, we're gonna give him some leeway, you know. And I am aware that the moment he tunes in, he's gonna be bombarded with a bunch of ads, because that's just how Twitch is. I should probably pull up the wiki just to be prepared. Can you believe that I already have 7 shiny Furfros in total? Just last week. I didn't even have 1. Well, was it even last week? I think it was. what else can I play? Well, I'm still waiting for him. Let's see, what was that thing my friends and I were discussing earlier today? Oh yeah, my friend sent a picture. Dasani water bottles. Let's see, where was it? Dasani water bottles now without salt. And he's just like, it had salt before? I'm just like, yeah, that little pinch of sodium. You ever notice water bottles? If it's just water, it shouldn't really have an ingredients label or a nutrition label, but because the FDA requires it, they need to. Notice how for some reason on water bottles, it has like 2% sodium. You ever notice that? Or 1% sodium? There's always a teensy little bit of sodium in there. You ever notice that? So, he sent a picture today, Dasani bottles, Dasani water, now without salt. Now without salt, asterisk. And I'm just like, yeah, that teensy little bit of sodium, you know? That H2O without that NaCl. That Na sodium Cl. What that stand for again? Chloride? Sodium chloride. So, you know, salt. And then he also sent us a picture earlier today. It was the map we all want. And then it just shows the GTA, the Grand Theft Auto map, where all the maps are connected. You have Los Santos, Las Venturas, Liberty City, Mount Chiliad, Vice City. Like, all of those are all connected in one map. Like, the map we all want, where it's the entire GTA world all connected. And yeah, we want that. And I just replied like, we want the same for Pokemon as well. He's just like, Pokemon, question mark? Yeah, us Pokemon fans would love a game that has all the regions together. But they'll never do it. They'll never do it because why do that when they can sell each region individually and make more money? Johto was an exception, because Johto is connected to Kanto. It was the first time they were doing a new region after another one. And then, afterwards they realized, hey, we can make more money by separating each region, not making them connected. It's kind of like North and South America. They're connected, right? It's like, oh, we discovered a new region. It was connected to us the whole time. Anyway, so he is here now. Are you ready to hear everything I have to say? I literally waited for you for an hour to show up so I can start talking about it. I know you were at work. I know. And then you still had to go home, change your clothes, blah, blah, blah. So I know. But you're here now. Are you ready? Gonna wait for a reply. She said, uh-oh. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of this, but I will now need to repeat so that he can actually hear it. Yesterday, I finally watched 2 different shows that I have been meaning to watch for a while. One of the shows, literally all my friends have been telling me to watch for years. And yesterday, I finally watched it. I finally started watching The Boys yesterday. Yesterday, I finally watched episode 1. No, I'm not talking about From Season 2. Get the thought out of your head. Now that you brought up From, let me just say, I saw more gore in the first episode of The Boys than I did the entire first season of From. Watching the very first episode, I can also instantly tell this show not only has a budget, not only has a high budget, but it just has a budget, period. Unlike that puny little minuscule excuse of a budget that From had. So, before I talk about the first episode, I just want to quickly go over how strangely connected my life has been to The Boys before even watching it. What do I mean by that? Obviously, all my friends, and I kid you not when I say all my friends have watched it, except me. This show came out 5.5 years ago in 2019, I think around June. So I am 5.5 years late watching it. I'm finally watching it now that all the hype and discussion has died down. So yeah, all my friends have watched it, except me. You guys know how many shows I watch? Like, 2019, you know how many shows I had to watch back then? That was still Arrowverse. That was still when 6 different TV shows were airing for me to watch weekly. And that was just DC. What about Marvel? What about Walking Dead? I had a buttload of shows to watch back then. So aside from that, aside from all my friends watching it, like the other cases where my life is strangely attached or strangely connected to the show, I recognize a lot, and I mean a lot of actors in the show. And I pulled up the cast list just so I don't butcher some of their names. So obviously, I know Aaron Moriarty. I probably butchered that name. I saw Aaron Moriarty last time in Jessica Jones. I know Karen Fukuhara as Katana in Suicide Squad. I saw I saw Jesse T. Usher in that one episode of Tales of the Walking Dead. Colby Minifee, I know her as Ginny in Fear the Walking Dead. Let's see, who else? I know more Rarity. Yeah, I know Laurie Holden's in the show. She hasn't showed up yet. I obviously know her as Andrea in Walking Dead. Well, actually, Karen Fukuhara hasn't even showed up yet. You know, it's only been the first episode. Giancarlo Esposito, everyone knows him. Well, I'm seeing here at the cast list, turns out Chantel Van Satten is also in this show. I actually didn't know that. I know her, obviously, as Patty in The Flash. And I think she was in one of the... what was it called again? One of the Final Destination movies. I forget, or it was some sort of horror movie. It might have been like... No, that was Danielle Panabaker for Piranhas. Obviously... what? Obviously also Jensen Ackles. I know him in Smallville, and then voice of Batman occasionally. So there's a lot of actors here I recognize. Aside from actors I recognize... Oh, look at that. Shawn Ashmore is also in the show. Oh, yes! That's right. The big one, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yes, of course. I see in this cast list, Billy Zane's also in it. Now, the big one here... Carl Urban. See, here's a fun fact. My brother-in-law actually met Carl Urban, or at least we're pretty sure it was him. I wasn't there, sadly. Why would I have been there? One day when my brother-in-law, when my sister's husband was at work, he told us that one of the cast members of The Boys showed up to his store and, you know, purchased. He actually wasn't too sure who he was, so he asked me, assuming I watched the show, which, oops. But then I'm just like, was it Carl Urban? The way you're describing him, it sounds like Carl Urban went to your shop. So I showed him the picture, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him. So, yeah. All my friends, and I mean all my friends, watch this show. A lot of actors I recognize. My brother-in-law has actually met Carl Urban, and if that wasn't enough, it turns out that The Boys actually actually filmed. I don't know if it was an episode or not, probably more. They probably didn't just spend one episode filming there. So it turns out The Boys actually shot at one of my friend's school campuses. So I'm going to have to look out for that, where the school campus is that shows up. One of my friends' university, they actually filmed at his location, at his school campus. So yeah, there's strangely a lot of connections that, you know, this show has to my life. I'm saying that as if I know I've met the cast members before. So yeah, there's just strangely a lot of connections to my life. Seeing all these actors in different shows, and then Carl Urban spawning into my brother-in-law's life for a brief moment, and then filming at one of my friends' school campuses. Sadly, I was not there for any of them. Fuck! How much have I watched? I only saw the first episode. I just started last night. So he hasn't watched it yet? I don't know if he watched it yet. This man, he watches shows in 2x speed. Unless you were asking me that. Alright, so I did watch episode 1 yesterday, so let's go over it real quick. How did this episode start again? Yeah. You know, I also, because I haven't watched this show yet, I just started episode 1. All of the Homelander intros in Mortal Kombat 1, I knew almost none of the references. One of the Homelander intros was like, what if Vought's right, and I'm just talent? I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know who Vought is. Well, now I know Vought's not a person, it's kind of like a company. Like a brand deal company. Okay, so yeah, the first episode opens up. We actually see this bank robbery about to hit 2 kids, and then they get saved by what was this Wonder Woman character's name again? I don't even know. It doesn't even say here. What was her name again? Oh crap. I only saw the first episode, okay? I still need to learn all the characters' names. What was her name? Oh my god, why can't I find her name? Maeve? Is it Maeve? I'm actually not too sure if it is Maeve. Okay, whatever. They're saved by Wonder Woman and also Homelander. And then we learn just exactly what Vought is. Like I said, it's kind of like this company brand deal. And it turns out this world is absolutely plastered with superheroes. It's not just the 7. There are heroes in every city, in every state of America. There are heroes everywhere. I think the show said there's like 400 superheroes. So we meet a bunch of characters. We meet Huey, we meet Starlight, we meet other characters of the 7. So we meet this character, Starlight. She wants to join the 7, so she's auditioning for it. And then, you know, we also meet this random guy, Huey, who, you know, obviously won't be random for the rest of the show. We meet this guy, Huey. He's working at this electronics store, and then his girlfriend, Robin, shows up. And then, just out of nowhere, completely out of left field, out of nowhere, Robin just gets vaporized. Like, she just died on the spot from A-Train. At first, I wasn't too sure what happened. Huey was holding her hands on the sidewalk. It just cut and she just vanished. And then the camera, slow motion, pans over and we just see blood, like an entire wave of blood flowing. And then we see A-Train slowing down. Was that his name? A-Train? What the hell was his name? Did I call him the wrong name? What was his name? No, it is A-Train. So, yeah, he just completely ran right through someone. You know, sad to say, that's actually a little more realistic than if the Flash ever just stopped right in front of someone. So, now... So, at first I was thinking, like, okay, are they setting up a villain arc with Huey? Like, he's gonna go over would go over. He's gonna go after the 7, like Baron Zemo style. He's gonna devise a plan to take down the 7. Clearly, that does not seem to be the case. That could still be the case. I'm not sure yet. And then we see Starlight audition for a position in the 7. She gets the part, but it's not what she thought it was. Because she is getting a tour of their headquarters by The Deep, which, what a name, The Deep. Aquaman, The Deep? What's with all these fish fuckers? So, very quickly you learn that these quote-unquote superheroes are not good people. Because, ooh, deep, ooh, I clearly didn't expect to see some deep butt cheeks. But, welp, yes I did. There was a lot more penis in this episode than I expected. Because we also saw Translucent, completely butt-ass naked. So, what he does to poor Starlight is just, no. So, instantly, wow, setting up what the rest of the show is going to be like. You got gore, you got violence, you got very dark themes. It's great. It's leagues better than From. And then Huey, he gets the he kind of is pressured into signing an NDA and is given hush money. $45,000, like that's it? $45K? Ain't no way in hell I would sign that for $45K. And then the idiot at the very end actually tears up the check. I'm just like, wait a second, what? We'll get to that when we get to that. So because of Robin's death, he kind of gets pressured into signing an NDA. But he refuses, and then he even gets he meets Butcher. This quote-unquote FBI agent who is going up against all these superheroes. So it turns out that all these heroes are corrupt. All of them are awful people. Huey even recognizes that A-Train showed no remorse. He's like, oh, my condolences or my deepest sympathies. But he just never straight up said, I'm sorry. Never straight up apologized. To make things worse, Huey actually catches A-Train just laughing at Robin's death. It's also revealed, not really a reveal, it's just a fun little misdirect, which nobody bought, nobody believed. At least I sure didn't, given the fact that I know what this show's like. Butcher's like, yes, they're all corrupt, except Homelander. He's the one exception. I'm just like, are you sure about that? Really? Homelander's the one exception, really? Totally. So then they get this idea, they get this plan to sneak into Vought HQ and plant a bug there so they can listen in on what these guys are actually like. Huey does it, but then this was a twist that I didn't even see coming, mostly because I turned my brain off and I wasn't thinking. The pervert that is Translucent in the bathroom, butt-ass naked. Yeah, he sees that Huey is planting a bug. Oh yeah, there was also a cameo from Jimmy Fallon. I'm just thinking, like, did they actually film that, like, for the Jimmy Fallon show? Was it Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel? I always get the two confused. No, it was Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, it was Jimmy Fallon. They're both named Jimmy, okay? It's hard to remember. So, yeah, we get a cameo from Jimmy Fallon. I wonder, did they actually film that for the Jimmy Fallon show? Or did he do that just for the boys? He's 50 years old? Jimmy Fallon's 50? Wow. Oh, the song actually ended. Wow, Jimmy Fallon's 50. Talk about aging gracefully. Yeah, I really don't know why Huey tore up that check. Sure, it shows he has good morals, but like, brother, that was so stupid. You signed the NDA. Like, you already signed it, and your ass still gonna tear up the check? Brother, that is life-changing money, whether you like it or not. Well, maybe if not life-changing, then at least life-elevating. Anyway, so Butcher, I almost just straight up called him Carl Urban. Butcher drops him off at his store, where his work is, and then Translucent shows up and is about to kill him. Butcher comes in, fights Translucent, and once again, I turned off my brain and I wasn't really thinking that much. Butcher makes a good point, like, wait a second, that's right, translucent doesn't even mean see-through. It just means semi-see-through. Wouldn't his name being transparent make more sense? Instead of translucent? At least he's not called opaque. I also forgot to mention that there was this one scene between Huey and Annie, you know, Starlight. So, clearly, they're already setting up a relationship there. And I know they are, because I've already seen the clip of, you know, her butt cheeks out, and the two of them hitting it off. I already saw that. So I know for a fact that the two of them are going to end up together. Or, I don't know. Maybe there's just chemistry there, right? Anyways, they're already setting it up, and I'm pretty sure I already know where it's going. Gotta say, the CGI in this fight was pretty good. Because obviously, he's invisible, so there's just nobody fighting there. Carl Urban is just throwing fists to the air. Obviously voiced over. All that blood to actually be able to tell where Translucent is, that was all CGI. And good CGI, might I add. There was also this scene, where, what's her name? Like, the spokesperson for Vought. She's trying to make a deal with some other guy, and then he's like, I know what Compound V is, or whatever the hell he said. It's like evidence or rumors that the Seven or all the Vought heroes are corrupt. I'm just like, what a stupid move. You're gonna threaten, like, the spokesperson you're gonna threaten the spokesperson who speaks on behalf of all these enhanced individuals? Are you insane? Sure, what'd he say? $10 million? That's a lot? But, like, are you stupid? So anyways, by the end of the episode, whoever this guy was and his son, poor kid, they're flying in a plane, and then Homelander, you know, the one exception, Homelander shows up and completely just laser beams the plane in half. I don't know, was that the inspiration for his fatality? Or is there more regarding Homelander and planes? Like, does Homelander in the show actually just throw someone into a jet engine? If there is, I can't wait to see it. So, unless I missed anything, yeah, episode 1 of The Boys. It's a dark show, it's an adult show, It's a very violent show, and I'm for it. And the fact that I watched From just before watching this show just elevates the show even more. So yeah, 5.5 years late watching the show, but at long last, better late than never, I finally watched episode 1, 5.5 years after it came out. You know, because this show came out in 2019, like mid-2019, which means they had to film, let's say they filmed it a year in advance. This is like 2018 footage in reality. Oh, you can really tell it was a different time. Especially that conference meeting or whatever with the big crowd of people. We just don't really have that anymore. We just don't really have a big crowd of people anymore, thanks to a certain virus that went around. So, watching this show, you can really, and I mean really, tell this was pre-pandemic times. Like, extremely you can tell. Given just the big crowds of people. Wow, it's just a blast into the past. Anything I miss about this first episode? There were a couple other members of the Seven who we didn't quite meet just yet. We briefly meet Black Noir. I don't know. I don't know, it was a pretty dick move of A-Train when Huey was like, I would like a formal face-to-face apology from A-Train before I sign the NDA. And then A-Train's like, yeah, whatever, man, I'm sorry. Like, no remorse, no sincerity. Just like, sorry, man. Can I be done yet? Can I leave yet? So yeah, I miss anything from this first episode? Even in Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero commenting on Black Noir's name, like, who gives themselves a redundant name like that? And yeah, it kind of is redundant. Black Noir. I think there was also a line in this episode about drinking chai tea. Oh man, Paviter is going to be so mad at that. Like, chai tea? Chai means tea. You're saying tea. So I think there was a line in this episode on chai tea. Yeah, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Everyone who watched the episode 5 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, there was a line on chai tea. Is this dude even still here? He may have left to take a shower. Oh, her last name is Moriarty. Oh, whoops. Aaron Moriarty. Whoops. Not Morarity, Moriarty. Oops. Now that I'm actually taking a closer look at her name, Moriarty. Moriarty. Whoops. So yeah, anything I missed from the first episode of The Boys? Because if not, I'm just going to move on to the other thing I watched yesterday. Let me just double check something real quick. Alright. So, if nothing else, I'm gonna move on to the next thing to talk about, the other show that I watched yesterday. You know what? I need to sit back down before I set this up. Ugh. Alright, so yesterday, not only did I finally start watching The Boys 5.5 years late, at least I wasn't 5.5 years late watching this, because it wasn't out for that long. It's only been out for a couple months. Yesterday, alongside The Boys, I also finally started Season 2 of Oshinoko. It's been out for a couple months. Finally, I'm getting around to checking it out. So Season 2 of Oshinoko is drastically different from the first season, at least so far. Gotta say, obviously the intro song doesn't hit as hard as Idol, nor does the ending song. The ending song doesn't hit as hard as Mephisto did. Did I just summon new rock stars by mentioning Mephisto? So, Season 2, Episode 1, kind of started off with a Broadway play. At first I was a little confused, like, wait, what's happening? So after they introduced all of the Broadway, like, the play characters, bam, cut to the intro. I really like this one shot in the intro where... What the hell was his name again? You know, his new name is Aqua. What was his name again? What was his doctor name? What was his name before he died? It's not Taiki, that's one of the newer characters. No, I need to find out this doctor's name. I never remember it. Goro Amamiya, wow. Combines like two Persona names, okay. So I really like this one shot in the intro where it's, you know, the Dr. Goro Amamiya and as well as Sabrina, they're taking off their masks and it's revealing who they really are. I like that. That was a really cool shot. I definitely need to hear the intro a couple more times to get used to it, because everyone's used to Idol. Everyone still loves Idol. So, Season 2 is moving in a completely different direction, at least for the time. So, all our main characters, at least in this episode for now, is rehearsing for a play. So we see Aqua, we see Akane, as well as Kana. They're all rehearsing for this play. First of all, they're all auditioning. And then, obviously, main characters, they get the roles. Ruby, she's actually visiting her mother's grave. She's visiting Ai's grave, and she reveals it's only been 4 months since the end of Season 1. What was the name again? What was the idol group name again? Yeah, it's only been about 4 months since B. Kamachi performed. You guys remember that? The end of this first season? So, that's actually all we really see of Ruby this episode. She's not really in it. It's mostly just focusing on Aqua, Akane, and Kana. Which, could they not have picked a little bit more different names than Akane and Kana? They couldn't have picked a little more different names? It also turns out that Aqua and Akane are now officially a thing. They're now officially together, which I like. I do like these two together, even though, in my heart, I know it's doomed to fail. I know it will end inevitably, because I did get spoiled that this guy, who he ends up with. So, for the time being, I'm just going to enjoy this character pairing of Aqua and Akane, and not really think about the fact that this guy ends up with his sister at the very end. Then again, I also mentioned this a long time ago. I mentioned this when I found out about the spoiler. Yes, it is weird, him ending up with his sister, but you also have to keep in mind, and what I'm about to say doesn't help, they're only siblings genetically, because before they were completely two different people. Doesn't really make it much better, because, you know, think of it this way, and I used this example back then as well. Imagine you and the love of your life were both reborn as siblings. What a terrible fate. You and your spouse reborn together as siblings. What terrible luck. What an awful fate to be condemned to. Like, consciously wise, they are indeed two different people. They were just reborn as siblings. So, and I said this before as well, the two of them, in a way, technically would be fine if they get together, as long as they don't mate. It's a very touchy topic, because they are siblings, but at the same time they're not. It's a very, very fine line to cross. You know what else is also a very fine line that I'm glad the writers of this story didn't cross? The fact that now Aqua and Akane are a couple, even though Aqua has absolutely no interest. I'm just thinking like, brother, what's the matter with you? Anyways, aside from that, one thing I'm glad that the writers aren't going in is the fact that you have to remember Aqua is the doctor, is a fully grown adult doctor in the mind of a teenager. Wait, in the body of a teenager. So an adult mind going out with teenage girls, yeah, I'm glad they're not really going down that route. I'm glad that they're writing Aqua as if he has absolutely no intentions of doing exactly that. But instead, all he really cares about is, uncovering the secret of Ai's death, the mystery behind Ai's death, which is actually why he's even doing this play to begin with. Because one of the people behind making the play a thing, he should have connections to what happened to Ai. So, he's doing this play only to get close and find answers. He even said himself multiple times he has no passion for acting. Doing a play is acting. So everyone's questioning like, wait, if you have no passion to do this, why are you doing this? And he just can't reveal it. How can you reveal it? You cannot reveal what you're really doing. Like, you cannot reveal who your mother was. You cannot reveal why you are doing this to uncover the truth behind her death. And also, you have to think, like, poor Aqua and poor Ruby, especially Aqua, he can never tell anyone who he really is. Except, of course, as we all know, by the end of the story, he tells his sister. But aside from that, he can absolutely never tell anyone who he really is. He can never tell a soul that he was once a doctor who died and was reborn. He can never tell that. Because, one, nobody would believe him. And two, wouldn't you just feel weird knowing that now? Like, say you were Akane, and the guy you're dating turns out he's, like, a 30-year-old doctor who died and was reborn. It's like, oh, you really probably can never tell her that. Anyway, so aside from that, we get moments in this episode, and this is what I really like about this show. What I really like about this anime. They have some really, really informative and insightful knowledge into the stories that they're telling. Into the kind of careers that they're telling. First season was about idol culture, so they really had a lot of details about idol culture. You know, rehearsals, practice, the pressures of, you know, all that stuff. And then season 2, this one interests me even more. Because, you know, the whole thing about acting, that interests me even more than idol culture. When it comes to acting, you know, rehearsals, script readings, other stuff that I'm just blanking on. Like, the fact that season 2 is going to go into the, you know, the deeper parts of acting, what it takes, and especially for a play, that really excites me. You know, there's also script writing as well. There was one point in the episode where Akane's like, hey, the character I'm playing is completely different from the source material. So we get answers. It's because they had to rewrite the character in order for no drag, no overuse of screen time, of runtime. You know, because script writing and screenwriting is not exactly as easy as you might think. You know, you have to write it to a point where it captures the audience's attention, but also it can't drag out too long. You also want to build out the character, but you can't have the character, like, stand there alone and discuss their entire life story. For an episodic show on TV, that's a different story. You can, you know, sprinkle that in. But for a live, on-stage performance play, that is a lot harder to do, because you're restricted from the runtime, and you really have to convey the characters to the audience. So I really like the direction this second season's going. I'm more interested than the idol culture stuff that was in the first season. I finally also get to see the context behind that one screenshot of Akane. You know, her bending over, looking down, hand brushing her hair back. I first saw that online, and the caption was like, instantly wife up a girl who looks like this. Now I finally understand the context to what that scene had. Well, yeah, you know, I like this pairing between Aqua and Akane, especially after everything that happened in Season 1 with the pressures that she was facing from Twitter. And I also gotta say, poor Kana, she just has no choice but to sit there and watch the person she has a crush on be with someone else. Trust me, I know that feeling very well. Believe me. I know that feeling way too many times in my life. So yeah, poor Kana. I know exactly how she's feeling. There are moments in this episode that are a little fast. Like the introduction of all the new characters, none of whom I know the names of. We get introduced to like 3 or 4 new characters who are also going to be like main regulars in this season. Because they're also going to be in this play. There was this one adorable moment where Akane is briefly jealous that Aqua is just staring at Kana. And she's just like, I'm your girlfriend. And he's just talking about stuff. The typical gloomy Aqua style that he does. Let's see what else happened. So yeah, they also... And I gotta say, too, this was one lore dump that I never knew. I didn't know this about play rehearsals, assuming that this anime is depicting, true tactics. I didn't ever consider this. The fact that a play is not like filming a TV show. Oh boy, there's another bot in the chat. Do not click that, anyone. Yeah, I didn't ever consider this. Rehearsing for a play is not like, rehearsals for a TV show. Where, actors on a TV show, that's their full-time job. They don't have any other jobs to do. At least preferably so. When you're an actor for a play, you have other things to do. Like if you're still young, you're still going to school, right? Or if you have another daytime job. Not everyone is able to be there to rehearse at the same time, so you need a fill-in actor for you to rehearse off of. I never considered that. And maybe that's also the case for TV acting as well. I just never thought about that. And when it comes to plays, you also have to think like the pressure to get it right when the time comes. You have one shot to get it correct. It's not like, filming a show or a movie where if the take isn't as good, you just reshoot it. No, you're doing a play in person, live. So you have one shot to really, really convey all the emotions, all the expressions. You have one shot to make the audience really feel like they're watching a character. It really makes me think about that Footloose musical play I saw on my cruise last year. I still haven't seen the original Footloose, by the way. I was supposed to, like a year ago. Yeah, I still gotta do that at some point. And then compare it to, my memories. By the end of the episode, we meet this new character who wrote the entire manga that they're basing it off of, I think. This person kind of looks like but unless they're about to misdirect us and say that this is I reincarnated, I think it's just a coincidence this character kind of looks like her. So this person who wrote the, the base material, the source material, comes in, checks out the script, and is like, is it too late to rewrite some of the script? It's like, the director, the screenwriter's like, which part? all of it. Rewrite the whole thing. They also mentioned, like, they begin rehearsing a month in advance. I'm thinking, that's it? Just a month? Excuse me. You only rehearse 1 month in advance? That doesn't seem like a lot of time. 1 month is not a lot of time at all to get everything right. Acting, tones, costume fitting, you know? Lighting, directing. 1 month is not a lot of time to do that. And once again, the ending, without Mephisto, it just doesn't hit as hard. And in this season, this episode also teased the growing rivalry between Akane and Kana, not wanting to lose to each other. We all know why Aqua's there. He's just there to find out more about Ai's death. And Ruby, I think she's going to do more idol stuff this season, I think. I'm not gonna lie, like, this stuff looks fun to do. Being in a play just looks fun to do. Like, I wish I could be in one, because it looks fun as hell. It looks mad fun to do. But, sadly, that's just not my life. You know, I would love for it to be me, but, sadly, I just don't have any acting capabilities. I knew someone, though, who did, who was in, I forget exactly which year of school it was. I forget if it was even elementary school or high school. I think it was high school. I can't remember. I did know this one guy who absolutely killed his role. Like, he was the main role of a play. And, my god, he had to memorize so many lines. Watching him perform on stage, I was just thinking, like, oh my god, he just keeps on talking. And talking and talking. He has all these lines to memorize. And he was the main character. So he was on stage 90% of the time with an abundance of lines to say. I'm just thinking, like, holy god, he has so many lines to remember. This dude memorized an entire book, word for word. Like, you don't need me to tell you how long scripts are, right? The screenplay for a movie could be like 1,000 pages. And that's probably on the lesser end. That's probably nowhere close to how many pages it would take for an entire movie's script. So yeah, I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. I did see one thing that, well, if it wasn't in Season 2, where else would it be? Like, some of our characters actually finds the dead body of the doctor. I wonder how that comes to be. All in all, I don't know too much about the season. I've had relatively little spoiled about it. And, like, what a pair. You know, what a pair of shows to watch together. The Boys and Oshinoko. What a pair of things to watch together. Me watching Agatha all along and Penguin made a little more sense, because both of those were airing at the same time. But these two, wow. You would never think anyone would ever be like, I'm gonna watch The Boys and Oshinoko at the exact same time. Like, what more different contrasting? What? What else can I play? I'm gonna do this until I hit 2 hours. I did start late tonight. Maybe I should have saved right there. It's okay. Whoops, you are not playing an ad right now. So, I've said this many times, you guys know that aside from aside from these two shows that I've started, there's also a gang load of content coming out this month. Creature Commandos, What If, Squid Game. So I have a busy month ahead of me, chock full of shows to watch. As well as watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3 when that comes out in a couple weeks. As well as, now, watching the conclusion to the Sony Villains universe. Which, isn't it confirmed that it's Dimension 838? Because we saw Mrs. Chang in Across the Spider-Verse. Oh yeah, so Sony also mentioned that now that their universe is dead, they're focusing more on Spider-Man 4, Beyond the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Noir, which, great. I don't know whether to be excited for that Spider-Noir show or not. On one hand, it's Spider-Man, you know, but on the other hand, it's Sony. So, like, ooh, should I be excited, or is Sony going to mess it up again? Like they seem to have been for quite a long time. I'm starting to think Sony just can't make... well, I can't say can't make good movies, period, because they can, and they have before. I just think Sony can't make a good comic book movie anymore. They did in the past, not anymore. And I know Spider-Verse is the exception, but that's animated, you know? They just can't seem to make a good live-action comic book movie anymore. And, you know, poor actors. Majority, like, primarily, poor Tom Hardy and poor Aaron Taylor Johnson. Not really Jared Leto, you know. And certainly not, you know, the cast of Madam Web. Oh, there you go. The Boys and Oshinoko. I'll probably watch episode 2 of both tomorrow. That is if I decide not to play Persona 4 Golden New Game Plus all day. Which, I'll be honest, I haven't really made a lot of progress in that. I haven't really touched the game in a couple weeks. I really do mean to, but I would just rather be doing something else, you know? instead of just replaying a long-ass game again. You know, I'm fine with replaying games, it's just this one's long. So long. But I will, you know, refresh myself on Persona 4 Golden, as well as I also need to figure out how to do certain S-links, because some of them I just never did. I don't know how to complete the Fox S-link. I don't know the Music Club girl. So there is stuff in the game I've never done before, which is why I want to play through New Game Plus on my own first before I play it again here. Oop, there goes the music. Don't forget, don't you think I forgot this dimwit compared From to the boys, saying they were similar. I'm keeping my eye out for similarities. I swear, if the only thing if he's saying the only things that are similar is the gore, I swear to God. If I see no similarities between the two shows, I swear I'm gonna quit From. Because at this point, Buddy was just lying to me to get me to keep watching the show. Anything to say in defense of yourself? He hasn't replied in a while. I don't even know if he's still on. Talk that bullshit to me that From is similar to the boys. I'm just like, God, do you not know what the word similar means? You know, Buddy also texted me earlier today asking me like, bro, are you sending likes on Hinge without adding a comment? And I just replied, I will confirm nor deny. And he actually didn't reply to that. I don't know, am I supposed to? I know there are some cases where I can easily do that. Like, someone's profile has like, I don't know, something, and I can easily reply like, yeah, I love doing that too. Something like that, just to start something. But aside from that, what am I supposed to comment? Supposed to leave a comment on someone's like selfie picture, like you're very attractive? Am I supposed to say that? What, am I supposed to leave a comment like, I find you very pretty? What am I supposed to say? Supposed to leave a comment like, I love the shirt you're wearing? Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to leave as a comment? Because if I If someone has a dog in their profile and then I send a comment like, your dog is adorable, well then I'm sending a comment not for her, for the dog. Oh. Well, it's okay. I'm about to end for tonight anyways. Silence. What, nothing to say about the boys or Oshinoko? You've been silent for quite a while, buddy. Next thing he's gonna comment, oh, I left for a bit. I left for a bit. Can you repeat all that? Well, after I'm done this, I'm going to hatch more Furfrou eggs. Last week I only had 1 shiny, now I have 7. So I only need 3 more. I really did expect shiny Furfrou, getting 10 of them, to take months. But here I am, like a week later, and I already have a total of 7. Alright, we've hit 2 hours. It is now midnight. So, last encounter for tonight. Nope, no shinies. Well, we may not have gotten a shiny Yveltal tonight. I did, however, get a shiny Furfrou, so that's something. You know what? Let me practice. How about that? Before I end, let's practice. I do need to take the rubber bands off. I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna do there. Let's see. What about a non-stab, not effective crunch? How much damage will that do? Oh, that's right. It has something to heal itself. Okay, that was a crit, so that's... Oh, that's right. It heals itself. Ooh, this one's gonna be a bigger challenge. Anyways, yeah. We'll figure it out when the shiny comes. Ooh, false swipe's actually not gonna be that effective here. I'm gonna have to think about this. I mean, it's not the first time I've caught shiny Yveltal. I'll think of something. Or I'll just wing it. Oh well. Well, I'm gonna end for tonight. Alright, see you guys next time.